Coming up next on KPBS Evening Edition, a bizarre morning on San Diego's freeways. Someone fired a gun at 4 different cars traveling from National City to the North County.
And a San Diego researcher is honored with the Nobel Prize in Medicine. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Joanne Ferrian.
And I'm Dwayne Brown.
The county's top law enforcement officers say they want to stop the revolving door for prison inmates as they assume responsibility for 4,000 more criminals starting today. We'll have a look at the challenge tonight on KPBS Evening Edition.
But first, we begin with a bizarre series of shootings on San Diego freeways. San Diego police and the Highway Patrol are on the lookout tonight for 2 men suspected in a series of drive-by shootings. One motorist was shot in the leg and forced the temporary closure of Interstate 805 early this afternoon.
I've been on the Highway Patrol for 21 years, and this is the first time I've seen this type of repeated incident over such a large area.
The first drive-by shots were reported in the South Bay around 10:30 this morning. At least 1 bullet hit a car in National City on the 805 north, but no one was hurt. Gunfire was also reported along the 805 near Highway 163 near Mission Valley. That's where a CHP officer was assisting a motorist. An ambulance was also hit on Interstate 5 near Del Mar. That's where the suspect's vehicle was last seen. Here's something that you don't see every day in San Diego. A major freeway completely shut down. The 805 north at Mesa College shut down for about 2 miles for a crime scene investigation. This is where the only person injured in the gunfire ended up. A 26-year-old San Diego man shot in the left leg and taken to the hospital. Officer Athens expects Mesa College Drive to be closed for some time while investigators search for clues.
So far, the witnesses all describe the vehicle as a white Chevy compact, possibly a Malibu late model, with 2 male adults described as either light-skinned black male adults or Hispanic male adults.
If you see a vehicle matching the description with this license plate number, 5POM917, you're urged to call the CHP or San Diego Police.
Governor Jerry Brown has signed a bill that would give the families of crime victims time to appeal a convict's request for clemency. The new law was sparked by one of the final acts of Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. He reduced the sentence of Esteban Nunez. Nunez was sent to prison in connection with the fatal brawl at San Diego State. The new law will not affect his sentence. San Diego voters will get to decide whether the city should ban labor agreements on public construction projects. KPBS reporter Katie Orr says the issue will be on the ballot, even though the city's never entered into such an agreement. She's in the news center now with the story. Katie, if we've never entered into one of these agreements, why do we need to ban them?
Joanne, these agreements have been popular around the county for a little while. Chula Vista has banned them. Oceanside has. San Diego County has banned these agreements for their unincorporated areas. So basically what we're seeing here in San Diego is a preemptive strike by people who are opposed to these project labor agreements, or PLAs as they're known, which tend to benefit labor unions. They collected enough signatures to put this ban on the June ballot. So today, the San Diego City Council could have either just implemented the ban outright or voted to forward it to the voters. Now, there are people on the city council that support this ban, but they knew they did not have the votes to get this implemented right away. There are also a lot of people who oppose this ban, but they really didn't have a choice. And so the council in the end voted unanimously to put the issue to the voters in the coming June election at a cost of more than $500,000 to the city.
Now, Katie, we know that Governor Jerry Brown has been signing many bills lately, including one that outlaws these bans. So how does this affect what's going on here in San Diego?
Well, it's not really clear at this point. He signed that law about 2 days ago. This is really just in the early stages. We still have the whole campaign to get through. Union members say that this will cost San Diego millions of dollars because if projects have these bans for project labor agreements attached to them, then they can't get state money for those projects. And they say, again, that could cost the city millions. Although supporters of the ban say that the law is more nuanced than that and that the unions are just using that as a scare tactic. But again, we'll have months of campaigning for both sides to get their positions out there.
KPBS reporter Katie Orr.
2 San Diego TV stations have been sold in one deal. McGraw-Hill says it's selling its broadcasting group, including KGTV Channel 10 and its Azteca America affiliate, Channel 15. Newspaper publisher E.W. Scripps is the buyer. You may recall earlier this year, McGraw-Hill said it was selling all 9 of its TV stations. The deal must still be approved and finalized. KGTV is one of our media partners.
Firefighters say they've stopped the spread of a wildfire near Julian. The Great Fire is 60% contained tonight after burning about 2,000 acres. No homes have been threatened by the fire, but 1,000 nearby residents were put on evacuation notice. The fire started Saturday afternoon. So far, there's no word on a cause. A geneticist with the Scripps Research Institute in La Jolla won the Nobel Prize in Medicine today. Bruce Beutler won the award for his discoveries about the immune system, which can lead to the treatment of a number of diseases, including cancer. KPBS reporter Marissa Cabrera spoke with him this morning. Marissa, how did he find out he won the prize?
Well, he first got the message on his cell phone. He said he couldn't believe the news, so he ran downstairs, checked out his computer, and at that point his name was all over the internet. John, when I talked to him this morning, he was still sort of in a little bit of disbelief, and he said that his phone has not stopped ringing all morning.
But Marissa, the news is bittersweet, though, right? We understand his colleague and fellow recipient Ralph Steinman died last week.
That's right. They had been friends, colleagues, coworkers for the past 30 years. And, you know, something like this has never happened before. The Nobel Peace Prize Committee doesn't typically hand out awards, posthumous awards. So this is really the first time it's ever happened. You know, things were a little in limbo this morning, but then the committee came out and said, you know what, at this point, the award will stand.
KPBS reporter Marissa Cabrera.
San Diego State University kicked off homecoming week today by rededicating the site where the historic Aztec Bowl used to stand. University President Elliot Hirschman and Seth Malios with the Anthropology Department unveiled one of the stadium's original plaques. It commemorates the 700 people who hand-built the Aztec Bowl during the Great Depression. Today marks the 75th anniversary of the stadium's dedication.
It might be the biggest change to the California correction system in more than 30 years. Thousands of convicted criminals once sent to the state prison system are now in the hands of local law enforcement. Prison realignment began this weekend in San Diego, but despite the sea change in policy, not much is different today in San Diego, and that's because the real implications of the shift will happen over time. Here's the setup. The whole thing started about 10 years ago with a lawsuit. Inmates sued because they did not have access to health care in state prisons because of overcrowding. Eventually, the inmates won, and the courts ruled the state had to decrease its prison population by more than 40,000. As a solution, Governor Jerry Brown introduced realignment, shifting responsibility of thousands of low-level inmates to counties. San Diego estimates the fate of 4,000 offenders who once went to state prison in any given year will now be in the county's hands. Joining me to talk about how prison realignment will affect San Diego is County Sheriff Bill Gore and Head of County Probation Services, Mac Jenkins. Thank you both for being here.
Good to be here, Joy.
Sheriff Gore, let's begin with you. Now, for the past several weeks, we've been reporting that this realignment does not mean a mass release of thousands of inmates. What does it mean for San Diego County?
Well, the realignment program is a prospective program for as far as our jails go. That means that people sentenced today, as of Monday, they will, if they're sentenced for a nonviolent, non-serious, non-sex offense, instead of being sentenced to a state prison, they will now come to a county jail. We anticipate, when fully implemented, we will have about 2,000 more inmates than we have today.
Now, there's also been a change with regard to policy. For the last 30 years, California has really been seen as being tough on crime. Someone commits an offense, we lock them up in prison. Now, this new law also allows for a new sentencing change where they can have a split sentence, so half the time spent in county jail, but then half the time being on probation. What will that mean to your department?
Well, for us, of those 2,000 that the sheriff mentioned, we'll have to see how many of them the court applies the split sentence, because it'll absolutely mean an additional workload for the probation department, because in addition to those 2,000 that the court will now use this new split sentence option on, the probation department also receives an additional 2,000 former parolees that will be responsible for supervising. In fact, approximately 269 of those individuals we're expecting to see this month in October.
Wouldn't we have seen them anyway? So when you were, in the past, if you were sent to state prison and you were released on parole, aren't you sent back to your original county?
That's a really important point, and I think the public has been a little bit confused on that, because that's absolutely true. They would already have been in the community, but they would have been supervised by a parole agent. Now they'll be supervised by a probation officer, and we'll be using different techniques than we think has been used in parole. Under parole supervision, these individuals had a 66 to 70% failure rate, whereas a similar population under our probation supervision has had a recidivism rate of only 34%. But you're right, they would have already been in the community, but now a probation officer will be supervising them instead of a parole agent.
Let's talk about that statistic, though. That's a program that Bonnie Dumanis introduced. We looked into that program. I believe only 500, just a little over 500 released inmates have actually successfully graduated from that program, and when on any given day, you know, we have thousands, I think it's 7,000 parolees in San Diego County, so we can talk about its success, but I mean 500 compared to 7,000?
I would say what's important about the SB 618 program is the concepts that we're going to apply, because we, even though it's been small, we're going to take the concepts of planning up front to provide services, and the sheriff will talk about this, services when they're in custody, and then having a smooth handoff to the supervision for my officers when they're in the community. That's what we learned in the successful SB 618 program.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're going to take that small, if you want to call it a pilot program even, and expand it. For us to be successful, and I consider success in this, if we can continue to lower the recidivism rate, so we're not just recycling these people in and out of our state prisons. If we can lower that recidivism rate from the high 60, 70% down to just 50%, we will be successful, and we will keep the crime rates down, and it'll make it much more fiscally responsible too. So the key is, so when we have that person that's sentenced to our jail and they're going to be sitting there for, let's say, 18 months, not to just let them sit there. That's a recipe for disaster for my guards, to have people just hanging around these jails with nothing to do. Plus, it's a wasted
that, Sheriff, though? How are you going to pay for all that?
That's what we're hoping, that the money's coming from the state to do those programs inside our facilities, to have the substance abuse, the literacy programs, the anger management programs that prepare them to successfully re-enter into our communities. We're getting funding from the state, and our big concern is it enough funding, and will it be continuous funding? And that's what we continue to work with the Secretary of CDCR and the Governor on, to make sure that that funding is adequate to address these. Otherwise, it's doomed to failure. And I consider what's happened in the state for the last 3 decades pretty much a failure when you have that high of recidivism rate. So to do it better, we're going to need the proper funding, and we lower that recidivism rate.
But Mac, don't we already know that there have been cuts to drug treatment programs for people on probation, on parole? If there are already cuts to existing programs, how are you going to expand services?
That's also a really good question. We do know that there have been cuts at the state level, but the other real important part of the way San Diego County is applying and dealing with realignment, in addition to a very strong collaboration with the criminal justice community, what we're doing is we're infusing evidence-based practices in the way that we do it. And what we know from evidence-based practices is that we don't try and apply the same level of service to everyone. So in order to make sure that the dollars are smartly spent, we do risk-based supervision. So in other words, everybody, you heard the sheriff mention earlier, an assessment process. We'll be assessing all of these individuals, those that come back to his jails, those that come back to community supervision, and we'll identify those who are in the highest need of substance abuse treatment. So we'll direct those dollars there. We're not going to try and do a blanket approach to everyone. We're really just trying to take a look at what their real needs are and use the dollars smartly to match them to appropriate services. That's the benefit of evidence-based practices.
Mac Jenkins, Sheriff Gore, thank you both for being here.
Thanks, Joanne.
Happy to be here.
Sometimes a small business just needs a little bit of help to get off the ground. In a moment, we'll show you how women entrepreneurs are getting help through microloans and how a little bit of cash helps them take big steps out of poverty. The story coming up from our Biz Tech desk. And last week, we told you about the discovery by San Diego researchers of the wake-up gene, a sort of biological alarm clock. We'll learn more about what it is, how it works, from one of those researchers as KPBS Evening Edition continues.
Tonight on KPBS at 8, part 2 of the 3-part documentary film series by Ken Burns that tells the story of the rise, rule, and fall of Prohibition and the era it encompassed. Then at 10, it's part 2 of an encore presentation of the story of the 18th Amendment, which outlawed the consumption of alcohol, Prohibition. And at midnight, acclaimed interviewer and broadcast journalist Charlie Rose engages America's best thinkers. That's tonight on KPBS.
This fall, PBS invites you to get ready for great moments and breakthrough performances, for the best in music and dance. For 9 weeks, PBS presents 9 special events from across America. The PBS Arts Fall Festival.
Fridays at 9, beginning October 14th on KPBS. KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Microlending is a proven poverty fighter in the third world. Agencies provide small loans to women so they can create a business to help feed their families. From our Biz Tech desk tonight, Eric Anderson says the San Diego Foundation for Women is now pushing the idea.
There's nothing particularly exceptional about the outside of this Lemon Grove business, but inside, Malou Gibson is channeling a bundle of entrepreneurial energy. For 8 months, Gibson has run her massage therapy business here. The building is an anchor for Gibson's fledgling business that she's sharing with other women that she met in the microloan program.
That desire to open a wellness center expanded to actually have a wellness center and a bazaar inside the wellness center from the women, for the women. So that's, what got me inspired to say, yeah, it's time to do it. Let's get focused and get done.
Bric-a-brac, beauty supplies, and aromatic wonders fill this small lobby. The Wellness Center offers a variety of services and products made possible with the support, connections, and small loans coming from the Foundation for Women.
It's hard, but it's detailed, so it's been helping us to build up business-wise. So we got the structure. We just have to uphold it and, grow up on it. And we have people that has come from all roads of life and all kinds of experience that brings something to the table that is very important.
The San Diego-based foundation began raising money in 1997 to help women struggling with poverty in Liberia. Success there got them thinking about other places where they could have an impact.
Wait a minute. San Diego has a lot of poor women here. Why aren't we doing something here?
Judy B. is the foundation's chief operating officer. She says a 2009 study by the Women's Foundation of California found 250,000 San Diego women live below the poverty line, and 84,000 women don't have enough money to meet their basic economic needs. She says that was enough to start a microlending program here, and the program has already made about 500 loans.
When you come to the foundation, you become a member of a group of 5 women. You're there for 4 weeks. You get to know them. They get to know you. Very often, one of those women has referred you. And at the end of those 4 weeks, you stand up and say, I need a $250 loan, and I plan to do this. And we have a show of hands of the women in their group.
The next loan might be $500 or $1,000, or it could be denied. San Diego State University professor Chuma Sundramoorthy says that's the strength of a social business system.
You give them access to credit so they can actually start their own business. You unleash the entrepreneurial energy, which in turn helps them become self-sufficient.
She says the women also understand the unique economic opportunities available in their communities.
In addition, they could wind up employing their neighbor or friends as they do well. So there again, this job creation at a very small level.
Sundramoorthy says it's interesting that microloans were conceived in developed countries as a way to fight crushing poverty in undeveloped nations. Now, that innovation has made its way back to a developed economy as a poverty-fighting tool.
KPBS business reporter Eric Anderson adds the program here isn't a carbon copy of those used in poorer countries where simple survival is sometimes the goal. Here, there's more focus on navigating an established and complex business landscape.
Ever wonder why you wake up at the same time every day, regardless of whether your alarm starts ringing? There's a gene for that. However, until now, there was little known about the gene that tells our body to wake up. Scientists at the Salk Institute in La Jolla have discovered that gene. And joining us to tell us more about what that means is Dr. Sachin Panda, one of the researchers who made the discovery published last week in the Journal of Science. Thank you, Doctor, for being here.
Thank you.
So when did scientists first discover that we even had this internal clock?
Oh, so that's a very interesting story. Almost 50 years ago, one volunteer wanted to test this, so he made a homemade telephone and went down a cave where there was no clue of time. And every day when he got up or went to bed, he would call outside and tell when he was going to bed or waking up. And what was interesting was, after a couple of weeks, it became very obvious that this person was waking up almost 24 and a half hours after the previous day. So for example, today if he woke up at 6, tomorrow he would wake up at 6:30, and so on and so on. That, I think, is the first concrete clue that we have a clock, inbuilt clock, that tells us to wake up at a certain time every day.
So now, more than 50 years later, we have your research. You actually discovered this gene. So why is it important to know specifically that mechanism that tells us to wake up?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit about how the body clock works. So for almost 10 to 15 years, we knew that there is a protein called period protein. And this protein level goes up throughout the day and then comes down at night, as if there is a break that puts this protein level low. And in the morning, that break has to come off, and then this protein can go up, and our body can read how many proteins are there and can tell the time. So if you don't have this gene, then in the morning, that break doesn't come off. So the protein level does not rise above, more, so body gets confused what time it is. So that's why it's very important to know this mechanism that turns on the clock in the morning.
I think a lot of us probably feel that we're always getting up too early and we don't want to hear our alarm clock. Do other factors sort of play in that kind of interfere with this clock?
Yeah, so that's what we want to actually study. What happens? We know there are many factors that interfere with the clock. For example, if you stay up all night, if you're working in a night shift job or something like that, or for kids who are playing video games all night, after a few days, our clock gets disrupted. And as we age, our clock also does not work very well. So we'll go and test what happens to this gene when there is so much disturbance to our sleep-wake cycle or when we age. And if we know that, then we can possibly fix the clock and then bring back a good clock to our body.
And finally, quickly, this has other ramifications in terms of disease. It's not just about sleep. Why is that?
Yeah, so sleep is just an indicator of how our body clock works. In our body, almost every single cell has a clock. Just like our brain tells us when to sleep and when to wake up, our liver clock tells when to burn down that fat or burn down that sugar. And your muscle clock tells you what is the good time to go run outside or go to gym. So if you don't have a good clock, essentially your day becomes very confusing, very tiring. So that's why it has more implication. And when the clock breaks down, then as you can imagine, the person becomes more susceptible to diseases like cancer, diabetes, obesity, and also many infectious diseases. So that's why we're more excited about knowing how the clock works and how to prevent it from breaking down.
It's fascinating. Dr.
Thank you.
Sachin Panda, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke testifies about the nation's economic outlook. That's Tuesday on the PBS NewsHour.
In the last year, KPBS News has been honored with nearly 36 awards. I'm extremely proud of these honors, and I thank you for your support as we continue to serve our local communities with award-winning news coverage in the years to come.
Next time on Doc Martin, Marigold is cooking up something with Bert in the kitchen.
No need to pluck it.
So you're not a pheasant plucker then?
Oh, no, but I know how to undress a bird.
And Louisa's midwife wants a water bird.
Fly it for me.
But the doc's not buying it.
You're not seriously considering giving birth in this Harpies paddling pool, are you?
On Doc Martin, Thursdays at 9 on KPBS.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court began its new term. The court's first case, a San Diego doctor who wants to sue the state for trying to cut Medi-Cal payments by 10%. Dr. Ted Mazur says the payment is already too low. It doesn't even cover expenses. Mazur says low fees reduce access to care because more doctors are refusing to accept Medi-Cal patients. The Supreme Court will decide whether Mazur has the right to sue the state. Our question tonight, should Medi-Cal payments be lower or equal to payments made to doctors by private insurance companies? You can weigh in on the conversation by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and of course you can email us. And to read more about this story, you can go to our website, kpbs.org.
Recapping tonight's top stories, police are looking for two suspects in a series of shootings along San Diego freeways today. They happened on the 805 and the 5. One person was hurt. A geneticist from the Scripps Institute in La Jolla has been awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine. Dr. Bruce Beutler was honored for his work dealing with the immune system. You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition.
And we're going to leave you tonight with a look at our cooler forecast. Have a great evening.
Good night.